Hello everyone here, Chris Capri, SecondSkysForex.com. So today's video is on reading the Chico span. The reason I'm doing this video is a couple things. One, I've been getting a lot of requests from it from traders inside the course who have studied Ichimoku previously and had an affinity for the Chico span. The other thing about it, the other reason I'm doing it is because if you all remember when I talked about the Chico span, it's designed to represent, it's a line representation of price shifted 26 periods back. And the whole point of it was really to kind of gauge the strength of the current cross of the Tenkan and the Kijun to determine, hey, is this new directional turn, is this strong or weak, is momentum on its side, and how is it in relationship to previous support and resistance? Well, with that being said, I could always read, current price in relationship to previous price 26 time periods back, but not everybody can do that. And so you combine that with the fact that there's a lot of people wanting information about how to read the Chico span and wanting to use it in that, I've decided to create a video in it called Reading the Chico Span. And I'll probably do several of these videos to help give examples of it, because it's not necessarily a fixed science in the sense of, okay, there's this rule, and this rule, and you just follow that and that's it. It's not totally objective. There is some subjectivity in the interpretation, of reading it, because there's so many different situations that the Chico span can find itself in. So I'm going to probably do this over several videos, but one of them I'm going to go over right here is the Euro-US dollar in the 4-hour time frame. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over 3 signals in relationship of the Tenkan and the Kijun cross, and I'm going to explain price's relationship to the Chico span, what the Chico span was reading, how you could interpret it, and how you can use this to gauge whether you have a good signal or not. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to start off with A prime. So the A right here in this little mark is A prime. A prime is where we have a crossover, an upward crossover, the Tenkan over the Kijun. When you have an upward crossover of the Tenkan over the Kijun, that is what they call a favorable turn in Ichimoku language. So that is a favorable turn. When it's a downward crossover, it's called a reversal turn. So we have what is called an upward turn here, a favorable turn at A prime, and 26 periods back is A, which is this candle right here. Now, when you're reading the Chico span, the 3 most important things you're going to read it to, or really the Chico span, is in relationship to the Chico line, in relationship to the price line, and in relationship to the resistance band or the Kumo. So the Kumo, another name for that, is the resistance band, and we all know them as the Senko span A and Senko span B. Now, at the time of A prime, which is the favorable turn of the Tenkan over the Kijun, price on a closing basis had just crossed the Chico span had just crossed the price line or the price action. Now, under normal terms, that is a very good thing, or in the relationship to the Chico span, that is a very good thing. That is what they call a favorable cross of the price line. So the Chico has crossed the price line, and so that is considered a favorable cross because it's an upward one. If it's a downward one, it would be called a reversal cross. And so we do have a favorable cross here, which does give credence to this particular signal, saying, hey, according to the Chico, we've crossed the price line or the price action. Therefore, the price action should not be inhibiting it. Now, the Kumo up ahead from the Chico span here is pretty thin, so it's probably not going to give it too much resistance or give it too much to relate to. What's the problem, though, with this crossover? The problem is that it's a weak crossover, and price hasn't cleared the resistance band or the Kumo. So with that being said, if you watch what happens to the right here, as we move along, 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, price gets rejected by the Senko span B, the upper portion of the resistance band, And because it cannot break this, then we really don't have the full gamut of signals or the full gamut of Ichimoku communicating it's time to get long. And look what happens to the Chikou span. Price hits it, then rejects, and that's what happens to the Chikou span. The Chikou span then creates a reversal cross of the price line, telling us, hey, guess what? This thing is definitely not going to be creating an upward move anytime soon. So we don't want to get long at this point. Now, I want to go to the next upward cross here at that time here, and that is B prime. Well, actually, technically, B prime is right here between this candle and this candle. Now, I've marked B prime over here because this is the first point where the price line has passed, or the price action has passed the resistance band and closed on the other side of it. As we all know, that is the most favorable situation for a favorable turn of the Tenkan and Kijun cross. We actually have the Tenkan and Kijun cross 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles back. So technically at that point, we can look at this and say, okay, 6 candles back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have that. So this B is 26 candles back from B prime. If we go 6 candles back from this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this would be the B at the time of the crossover right here. But take a look at B at the time of the crossover. The Chikou line has crossed the price line at that point, so that's favorable. But price at this point hasn't gone above the Tenkan and the Kijun, so that will offer itself up as resistance from an Ichimoku perspective. Only here, and we all know from a median crossover, I only take a median crossover after it's cleared the resistance band. We'll take look at what happens here. It clears the resistance band, closes outside of it on B prime. Look at where the Chikou span is at that time, which is B here. That's this candle straight up here, right there. That's B. The Chikou line has not only crossed the price line at a favorable turn, but then also at that point in time, the Chikou line has cleared the resistance band. This is an all signs green light or all signs go that we want to get long on this move. And if you look, this creates a very large upward move on the 4-hour time frame from 128.50 all the way up to almost 132.50. It's almost 400 pips, maintaining most of its time above the Kijun with only one close below it. So it shows the difference in how Ichimoku qualifies this signal, saying, okay, now we should expect a very large up move in this pair, because at B prime, when we've closed outside of it, we have all the favorable conditions. Chikou has created a favorable cross of the price line. It's above it. That means that price is not going to offer any resistance, and it's also cleared the resistance band of the Kumo. Therefore, all signs point to a very strong move ahead. And that's what happens. In fact, if you look at the very beginning of this crossover here, it happens right at the bottom here, and that starts a very large run in this pair, which is confirmed by, or this upward bounce or reversal is confirmed by here, the favorable cross, or the favorable turn of the Tenkan and the Kijun, B prime clearing the Kumo, and B, Chikou span clearing the Kumo. So you can see how that's very different than the prior situation. Now let's take a look at this downward crossover on C prime, or this upward crossover on C prime. So we have a strong run. Price then consolidates a little bit. It creates a sideways or downward crossover of the Tenkan over the Kijun, and then it creates a mild upward crossover after having flat momentum and flat trend here. So it creates it at C prime. If we look 26 candles back, that is C. Take a look at where the Chikou line is. Technically, it's above it, but it's right on top of it, and we have 3 candles above it that will offer itself up as resistance as this goes on. So this is not a favorable situation because the price in front of it is above it. So it will continue to offer itself up as resistance. And look how price manifests after this crossover here. It just goes sideways for a little bit and doesn't result in anything, telling us this was not a great signal to begin with. We didn't have price crossing over the Chikou line, or we did in some sense. We had a favorable cross because it was floating above it, but it was really right on top of it, and just in front of it was a price line barrier. So that should have communicated to us we would need to see the Chikou clear this before we could say, okay, this will start another leg up in this pair. So hopefully that all makes sense. There's a lot of moving parts in there, but I think those 3 examples should give you a lot of information to work with in terms of learning how to read the Chico line. Basically, when you're reading the Chico line, you're reading it in relationship to the price line and the Kumo, or the resistance band. Prior price and the Kumo, or the resistance band. So those are the key things that we're reading it in relationship to. And so that's pretty much it. I look forward to your questions on this. I'm kind of opening this up here. As you also know, I'm having one of the most important books on Ichimoku text translated, so as that goes on, I will continually be divulging more information about Ichimoku. Eventually, maybe 6 months to a year from now, after I've digested all the information, I'll be giving video lessons and strategies based on the wave theory, the time theory, the price target theory, and the Ichimoku number theory. So that's all soon to come. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for being a part of this course. I look forward to hearing about your questions as we explore the nature of Ichimoku. Good luck trading, and I'll see you guys on the course.